Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I wanted to spend some time talking about a very special subject to me, which is the state of Apex Legends in Season 4. Now, I usually do these videos to talk about how the game is going throughout the rest of the split and what I think has happened to the game that has done very, very well for itself and why it's still doing a great job, and also look to the future of what this game needs to do to improve, to stay relevant, to stay at a high level, and really servicing its fans in a good way. Now, this video is going to be a little bit more straightforward. It's going to be a little bit more topical, dealing with some of the bigger and smaller issues that the game has, while also covering some grander ideas and maybe some options for the future to grow it in a different way. So, for those who are interested in that type of topic, that type of thing, and this type of content, please leave a like and, of course, comment your opinions below, because that's what makes these videos more interesting, when people share their opinions, and we do get a nice discourse throughout the comment section. Now, the first thing about Apex Legends Season 4 and the state of the game is new BRs coming into the mix. Now, Call of Duty Warzone is clearly the BR a lot of people are talking about, and it's got over 30 million players in just a little bit over a week. Now, remember, Apex Legends reached that 50 million player mark in a pretty good amount of time as well. It might have been a month or so, but we had a huge release of Apex Legends. But it seems like there really is some true BR competition now. What does this mean, though, for the future of Apex Legends? I wouldn't be too worried, considering the fact that Modern Warfare, to me, is not a game I look at as an Apex Legends player and just want to play. Now, I know it's hype, and anything that's hype is very exciting, but don't get me wrong. I feel like Modern Warfare looks slower and behaves slower than the freedom of movement Apex Legends offers, and that matters in a day and age of where games are continually expanding. Call of Duty is a great franchise, but I've never been into it for several reasons, and one is the militaristic side of things. It just isn't necessarily my vibe. I do like the games. I love the way they play and feel. Activision, Blizzard, they know how to make a great game, but the fact is I just don't get attracted to, like, the dudes in camo and military gear as much as I get attracted to the cool story and the lore and the special, unique things you can do with high-flying action and trick shots like in a game like Apex Legends. And so I think it still wins out in that area. But COD has definitely taken a player base of people who have been really supporting Apex for the last little while, which are the gamers who float to every new hype AAA release, the ones who will play the new Rainbow Six Siege update, the ones who will then stop playing Rainbow and play Apex Season 4, then they'll go and play Modern Warfare Warzone, and then they'll go play Valorant whenever that comes out. They won't stay with those games and become parts of their core communities, but they will play them, and that is something that I think Modern Warfare has taken currently from Apex Legends, but I think over the course of the new updates for Season 4, and of course when Season 5 comes out, Modern Warfare will have a hard time staying where it is as far as Warzone being relevant, just because they come out with a new COD every year, and it seems unrealistic to expect them to only keep Warzone going when they can just keep making new COD games that have new accompanied BRs, especially if, you know, Warzone becomes a totally different feeling COD than the COD now. I wonder, or the new COD in a few years, you know, I don't know how that will play. Number 2, Apex Legends and its competitive season. Now, Apex Legends competitive esports has been on the rise for quite a while, I think, and people were really hype about this game and its esports season coming up after, of course, the $500,000 invitational that happened in Krakow, Poland. Now, I was there casting it, and it was an incredible sight. You saw players from all different walks of life and all different games coming together and competing to show what the best of Apex Legends had to offer. But since then, we've only really had one online tournament that was sponsored by EA and put on. Now, when I casted that, I felt that the teams were even better, that the meta had changed, and that now we got to see World's Edge fully fleshed out in a great way. But we could not wait to get to our first live major. And then, of course, just a few weeks ago, it was canceled because of the coronavirus outbreak. Now, it sucks that had to happen, that we weren't able to see these pros who've been putting a lot of time into the game get their shine, get their moments. But I do think that it was for the best. And anybody who's dealing with the corona stuff out there, I really wish you a speedy recovery. I wish your family safety and health in this time. And I also wish that we all do some social distancing and respect each other and what we all would want if we had someone at risk in our lives, or if we do have someone at risk in our lives. You know, it may not be about us getting it and being hurt, but it could be about somebody else. And so let's make sure we take those steps in order to serve one another in this really unusual time. And as gamers come together on games like this, I just think that we definitely need to see more and more of World's Edge on a competitive level. And I'm really excited for that in the online qualifier number 2. EA also making some pretty good moves, upping the original prize pool of the online qualifier to now $300,000 for this upcoming weekend, which is pretty strong. Now, number 3, new content has been lacking. The problem is the content that has come out in Season 4 has in some parts been very exciting, like a new legend, and all the abilities, the lore behind it, the tease of maybe a Season 5 legend of Loba. You look at new things like the Havoc getting a big buff, the Devotion going into the Crate, which is an interesting choice, but really I think appropriate for a gun that's that devastating. And all of the other mini changes that have happened around buffs to certain weapons, changes to Peacekeepers, and changes to Wingmans again and again and again. But at the end of the day, I've seen the same guns become meta, and I have not seen any of those guns that aren't meta ever really jump into that space. Triple Take, Havoc, they've never been go-to weapons. And until they do, we're going to see pretty much the same level of effectiveness across the board for all the weapons that we're used to playing with. And that's okay for me, but if you want something new and exciting, it's not that great. Also, Apex Legends' new legend Revenant is severely disappointing as far as his impact on the game. And although I love him and I think artistically and design-wise, he is so cool. I mean, what an A-plus job. They really have not made a competitive legend with him and not really sold the idea in terms of execution on how he's supposed to be played, which is sneak up, get in, get out. He's pretty hard to kill. He's very easy to kill in this game. His ultimate is not worth using. It's too easy to destroy, and it doesn't have enough of a radius. It almost needs a complete rework, and a lot of people have talked about that. And his hitbox is a little wonky considering that he's got a low profile extra 5% damage bonus on it as well. He's a big character. There are a lot of issues going forward, but the biggest thing about this is that we need to put out content that is immediately exciting and good to use, to shift pros and shift players into using it. Revenant really hasn't had that chance to shine, and I would love to see him get some buffs, or when new content comes out, really keep it buffed up so that we can have content that is engaging our players immediately, and then if we need to nerf it, we can tune it down. I made a video about this. It's one of the first videos of mine I ever made that got over 100,000 views for a game called Smite, and it was called The Top 5 Reasons Why OP God Releases, Overpowered God Releases, Are Good for Smite. The amount of hate I got on that video, the amount of frustration, the amount of whatever I got on there, but if you want to watch it, I'll put a link in this video, and you guys can see, because a lot of the comparisons and ideas that people are sharing now about things coming out strong and nerfing them, I've had for quite a while on many different games, and as a design philosophy, I think it's better than things being weak. But remember, if you're a loud complainer, the reason things come out weak is because those tweets, those Reddit posts are the ones they see and don't want to see again when they make new content. So maybe ease it up a little bit if you do end up trying to make it and they put out something strong and fun that does need a little bit of a downtune. Number 4, and this is a big one and potentially a really good thing or a really bad thing. And I don't know which one, but I'm going to go and say at the end of what news I give here, what I think it is, because I don't know. I think I made my decision on it, and we'll just have to wait and see. Time will tell. But the lead director of Apex Legends and the game, Drew McCoy, actually was either let go or quit, or he basically is no longer directing this game anymore. And he's been at the studio for many years, and he now recently, I think maybe it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, I'm sure if you're on Reddit, know, left the game. And so that means the direction, the ship is being steered in a completely different way by a different person. Now, there's 2 different ways you can take this, right? Apex is already doing great things, and this means that a slim chance of someone coming in and doing just as good or better. But you can also say that maybe Apex wasn't going the direction where players were happy, the community was happy, and the game was still growing at the rate it could have been. And so maybe this will be the ship turning back in the right direction. I've had games that have had, when I worked in a game studio, I would see developers come and go for games, and sometimes the change would be completely disastrous, and the new dev in charge would be just horrible. I mean, horrible. And then sometimes I saw the chaos behind the scenes of the current dev and what he was creating and why people didn't like working with him and why eventually he got fired or let go or he changed. And people then had an opportunity to settle into a groove and make the game fantastic. And particularly one game I worked on a lot, that ended up happening. And the new guy who stepped in charge was really, I think, a great fit for the team and the people that were working on the game at that time. And so this could be the case, but I think it does just put a question mark in Apex Legends' direction. From what I've heard, and this is, I don't even know where I heard it, Apex has a 10-year plan as far as supporting this game and as far as building out this story. And everything that they've done up until now makes me think that that's true. They're very good storytellers. Everything they do is piecemeal but contributing to one another. We're seeing things from the beginning of this game's launch connect to stuff that's just releasing in Season 4. And we're seeing stuff teased that we know is going to happen in later years and later seasons. So I'm really excited about someone hopefully new, bringing some new energy, getting people excited, having some new events, some new things we haven't even experienced or thought of, and of course, doing characters and designing characters and helping drive the ship in a way that really listens to the way the community and, of course, the stats of the game are telling them to go so that we all get the best game possible. This is something I'm really excited about, and yes, I think it's going to work in the favor of Respawn and of Apex Legends. But let me know what you guys think. It's sometimes not always easy leading the person who was, having the person who was leading the ship suddenly go away. Now, number 5, and this is the most important one, and this is something that you yourself can actually be a part of. And I want to remark on some of the things that I've seen around it and some of the good and the bad, because this is a very important time. Great games are coming out, like Valorant and Warzone, and people are flocking to them. And it doesn't mean that they aren't coming back and playing Apex, but they're going to take players, and they're going to have a lot of people playing them and looking at them. And I think the Apex community has been one that has been fantastic from the start. And it's something I love. It's a game I love. I'll always be playing, it feels like. But I do think that sometimes the community has shifted into being very negative and very, very, I think, self-sabotaging by commenting continuously only thoughts that are negative and why they don't like the game. It could be frustrating to lose or to have a game that you want to play that doesn't have a weapon that you feel is fair. But when you speak a certain way about it, I think we create the problem ourselves by making people think that it's not a fun place to be. I've seen this happen with 2 games I've covered so far, and every single time, no one has ever been better by a community overly complaining about something and putting off a negative vibe that doesn't seem fun to casual players who want to hop in and play. So it's a good chance for all of us, I think, if we want this game to succeed, to keep supporting it in different ways, by playing, by offering suggestions, by doing videos like this that give you honest opinions but don't necessarily say it's doomsday, to offer hope and excitement. And I think in this time, in this era of our lives, we all need that. People are staying at home. People are losing their jobs. I know friends and I myself have lost tens of thousands of dollars of work that could have been happening this year. And sometimes it's not easy to plan for that. But we have to keep going, and we have to not say, hey, things are over, even though they may look that way. Because then we've given in, we've given up. We have to move forward and try to do our best. And maybe we don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe we only have enough money for today or for next week. But we can keep moving forward like we're going to find an answer. And last but not least, in times like this, where things seem so uncertain and all the stuff in the world that I've always cared about and that a lot of us have always cared about outside of ourselves, the things we have, the way we look, the things we do, and our actions and how they're received, the things I'm most grateful for right now are my family and my health and my connection to myself as an individual and to the ones that I love in my life. And I'm so blessed to have that realization. And I think if we just stay in that gratitude energy, guys, anything is possible. Never give up. Never stop gaming. I'll see you all next time. Stay safe out there.